Alright, welcome to my Iron Man guide, tips and tricks, whatever you want to call it. Today I'm gonna go through 3 parts. I'm just gonna run down quickly the basics of the character for every newbie out there that hasn't played Iron Man and doesn't know what the kit does. But that's a short segment. Then I'm gonna go to small settings, and lastly I will go through some advanced things you can think about when playing Iron Man and when you shouldn't pick Iron Man. So let's go to basics. Okay, so now we're gonna look at the basics. We're gonna start off by looking at the left click and the right click. So the left click, the repulsor blast, is a projectile. It does small amounts of damage in the area of the impact, but they can also deal lots of damage if you hit them. But it's gonna be more difficult when you see people are moving and they're not gonna stand where you aimed at first, so it's gonna be harder to hit. Meanwhile, the right click is a hit scan laser, which does damage over time. As long as you can track people when they're moving with this, you can consistently keep doing damage to them. But the thing is, the right click doesn't have infinite range like the left click does, and to always have damage output coming out from you is good for your team, it's good for your ult meter, so just keep spamming out the damage. And yeah. And now we have the shift, which is hyper velocity. It's the only movement tool that Iron Man has, actually. He's very slow without it, but it's limited to the amount of fuel you have, so you have to keep a look on that, so you just don't fly into a dangerous situation and can't fly out because you're out of fuel. When you're in hyper velocity, you're also allowed to use your F button, which is rockets, or micro missile barrage, as the game states. Well, it's not a really useful ability, but you can use it to like do some small amounts of damage and perhaps break some walls, but it's not gonna be like, wow, he has to use that missiles. Here comes the interesting part. The E is armor overdrive, which essentially buffs your damage output on your left click and your right click, and also allows you to fire rockets in your stationary mode, like this. See, the damage is, and the AoE is a bit bigger, and the laser's damage is greatly increased, so that's what you want to use when you're in your overdrive. And then also you can use the rocket barrage. Here we have Iron Man's team up, which is with Hulk and Strange, but it's only Hulk required for you to have the buff. The buff is basically a damage increase on your left and right click when in armor overdrive. It's Gamma Ray, which is the meta pick right now. Increases just the damage, so I believe you do around 120 damage per left click, and then the right click is what's so strong about it, because it just destroys everyone. So yeah, you'll see this get used a lot in some lobbies and whatnot. But if you have a Hulk and Iron Man is open, just pick it, go crazy, destroy the enemy team. For the last ability, obviously the ultimate, which is the big flash explosion. That's everyone has been clipping with Jarvis. Clip this shit, you know that. So yeah, it's the ultimate. It's almost a one shot to everyone. I believe only like a shielded Groot or a Hulk with ult can survive it, or just shield heroes. Yeah, so it's very straightforward. It's a big AoE projectile that's on impact, kills everyone. It's one of the only abilities that can kill healer ults, like the defensive ones. So yeah, keep that in mind. Don't waste it. Save it for good team fights and whatnot. So there is some settings you could change. There's not a lot, but there's some things you can change. So I'll just go through it real quick. Change hero here to Iron Man, and then you go down to hero settings, and here you can change all the different sensitivities for the different lasers, and it's mostly preference based, so it's up to you if you want to change it. There's no need for it. It won't provide you with some enhanced gameplay, but these two right here is something I feel like is actually pretty good to change. So you can swap off these, because these are by default toggle. just press the shift and you start to fly. But what I prefer to do is have it on hold, so it feels smoother to exit out of flight and go into flight. I feel like it's better for like quick managing movement and whatnot. So yeah, that's something you could change. Other than that, there's not much. I have the dot crosshair, so yeah, you do what you want with that. Now we're gonna go through some more advanced things about Iron Man. We're gonna start with when and where to position. So let's say we're pushing in to their team here. I always want to try to have cover at all times, unless my team is providing good enough heals, my tank are making space, then I can perhaps move out and just start shredding people. You don't want to be too open without your team having enough space for you to move on, because you will get shot down immediately if that happens. So keep that in mind, look at what your team is doing and see what you can follow up with. There's also a discussion I'm gonna go through with the hypervelocity. I feel like they've increased the amount of sound it does, or yeah, how loud it is. So whenever I play against Iron Man, I feel like it's like I'm having a jet engine right next to my ear. So maybe don't try to set up flanks or anything with this flight, because everyone knows where you are when you're doing it. So yeah, just if you want to sneak around, do the normal flight and it won't sound as much as this. This is very loud. Another thing is the one-shot combo, as I like to call it. It's not really a combo, but it's you activate the gamma ray and then just press F on their feet, not on their head, because when you do it on their head, not as many rockets hit. When you do it on the feet, almost all rockets hit and you deal a lot of damage. So it's actually quite useful. And if you combo this with the gamma ray, you can almost one-shot a target immediately. That's on 250 HP. So let's start up gamma ray and then do the rocket barrage and then start spraying, and they disappear instantly. It does so much damage. There's not really anything you can do to counter it. Keep in mind, people will be moving when you're trying to do this, so try to keep track of them as much as you can and try to maybe get them off on a disgusting angle, or maybe even get some closer so more rockets hit, I guess. And also, one additional thing, when playing against a flyer such as Storm or Iron Man, I prefer to see them as the primary target for that match, for me at least, because when they're in the sky and I'm in the sky, I want to compete the sky with them, and I want to be the surviving flyer for my team. So if I die and their Iron Man or Storm is alive, she will just bombard my entire team, and yeah, they can't really do much unless we have like a really good Punisher or a really good Hela. So yeah, try to keep that in mind, that you have to kill the other Iron Man before you can start dishing out damage to the enemy team. Okay, so now over to when and when not to pick Iron Man. And I feel like this is kind of obvious, but when you see a Hela on the enemy team and a Punisher on the enemy team, perhaps don't pick Iron Man. You can try, but if it doesn't work, yeah, don't force it, because it will only ruin everyone's experience. So just pick Iron Man when the situation calls for it. Times you could pick Iron Man are a little bit different. There is some characters that Iron Man are good against, such as Moon Knight, Squirrel Girl, and I feel like Mr. Fantastic, because you can just shred them and their hitboxes is pretty big for the kind of HP they have. So if you are playing against those, I actually recommend Iron Man quite a lot. And when your teammates are picking like Loki and Adam Warlock, maybe don't go Iron Man, because the heals won't really reach you and it won't be enough for you to be able to push and be as aggressive as you want. So maybe refrain from doing that, or locking Iron Man then. Same goes for playing Iron Man with defensive support such as Groot or Penny, which doesn't have as much aggressive potency as Iron Man does, and I would advise against playing with those kind of tanks. And let's see if you have a more aggressive tank such as Hulk, Strange, even Venom, Thor. All those tanks are great to play with. You can go with them when they're making space. You can help them out by punishing the enemy team, dishing out lots of damage. So yeah, that's Iron Man is very good with those. I would just advise against playing with the defensive tanks because it won't provide much for you. When you're using your beam, try to not stand still because you will get shot down. So if you're trying to move when you're using the laser, like, it will provide you with a lot more survivability, I'd say. So let's say they're trying to shoot you and you're just moving around up and down and up and down and up and down. It's gonna be harder for them to hit you. You're not that like fast when you're doing this, but it's better than standing still. So yes, try to do that at all times. Keep in mind that the ultimate is one of the only abilities that can kill through a support ult. So keep it close. Don't just throw it out when you get it because wow, flashy button, I want to shoot someone with it. No, keep it to kill the support ults. And maybe yes, multi kills, that works too. If you see a big crowd, you can just throw your ult in there. Just don't throw it around for one pick or two picks. It's not worth it. And also get close with it because no one ever is gonna get caught by this ultimate. They're gonna move. They're gonna move as soon as they hear maximum pulse. They're gonna move. So yeah, get close with the ultimate. I'd say everywhere from like 15 meters to actually melee is good, provided you don't die. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Use the ultimate correctly. Don't just throw it out. And also one last thing. Keep in mind your healers. They can't really focus on you who's flying all the time and try to heal you at the same time as they're trying to heal the tanks. You have to think that they're trying to heal your front line and your people on the ground, so you can't really get all the healers' attentions. So just wait for your time to get heals and don't just start flaming because you died once because of lacking of heals, because it's so hard to actually notice a low Iron Man because you're so high up in the sky. So yeah, keep that in mind. Thank you for watching the video, and if you liked it, please leave a like. I appreciate it a lot. All the support, everything. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, feel free to subscribe. And I'm also planning a Namor and a Moon Knight video, so stay tuned for that. Bye.